All right, we will go ahead and get started. Don't worry if you are a little bit late, because we're just going to be doing some research. Um, that's all we're going to be doing. So, to give you an idea how that is going to go, let's go over here. All right, we'll go over here to our Solar Car Project page. All right, so right here, this is where we're going to have, oops. This is where we're going to have, put that in the wrong spot. This is where we're going to have all the links to everywhere, right? You can get to that here on the Science Club, right? So if you go to Science Club, right, we have that down here under the Solar Car Project. This is probably something that you're going to want to bookmark, right? This is something that you're going to want to put on there and say, okay, yeah, right. This is what we want, right? Let's bookmark that. So put that back here. All right. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to bookmark that. And I'm going to probably call it something to do with the solar car, right? That just kind of makes sense. So I might not do the whole thing. I know what a solar car is. So I can just click done, right? And I've got my bookmark there. And it should be right out here. Okay. So you're going to want to make sure that you're up to date for this. And then it's just a matter of choosing where you go, right? So first we might do electrical wiring and solar panels. I'll start with that. All right. Now this is a good point, right? I can't just click on these words and have them do stuff, right? I've got to highlight that. I got to highlight that box and then click on that link. Okay, pull that up. All right, so here at the top, we're going to want to put some important things, right? So this would be like announcements. This might be like questions, decisions, right? Stuff that we need to do like right away. And the number one thing that the electrical wiring people and the solar panel people need to do is they need to figure out where they're going to get their links from, right? I found this place schematics.com, and I thought this was a pretty slick thing. It lets you sign in with Google, which makes it really easy. And then it's just got all of these different tools to build our schematic. Now, our schematic, really what this is, our schematic is our way that we keep track of our electrical circuits. So I guess if we, smart heart alarm system, I'm trying to find something simple. Here we go. Right. So it just has all our different points, those little arrows that go to ground. And what our electrical people are going to have to do, right, they're going to have to come in here and they're going to have to know what all these lines mean, those little squiggles, the little arrows with the jobby on it, the little jobby over here, which is our battery. It just has to know, you just have to know what each of those pieces are, because you're going to be the ones that are reading and you're going to be the ones that are reading and creating these schematics. So I really like this one because I think it's going to make it really easy to do up. And they've got a bunch of, if we decide to go with, a standard type of chip, it seems like they've got a lot of those already in there, so we can use exactly what we're after. But there were also other ones. There's no reason. I mean, they're all schematics. So I was thinking that, we need to be able to do a couple things with these. We need to be able to make schematics, right? And then we also have to be able to share these with people. So either we have to be able to print them out as a PDF, or we have to be able to share them. We've got to get started with that. So that just kind of gives you a little heads up. All these documents are all the same. right? So if I go into suspension and steering, right, I can see that these are all the same. I've got some links. I've got some setups here, right? I've got some information, right, with a link and some information. We've got the link to the YouTube video. Right, steering and suspension. That's perfect, which is exactly what we want to do here. So, let me check really quickly one thing. Okay. Where do we want to start? What was I wanting to do? I did want to mention something about the Ham Radio Club. So the Ham Radio Club in Grand Island, like Grand Island has an actual official ham radio club. And they just got back to me with a message. Let's see if I can pull it up here. And he said, I asked him, hey, would you guys be willing to help try to figure out how to get our kids started on getting their ham radio license? He says they're happy to help. They've done a bunch of cool things with their ham radios. And then they're thinking about maybe next Wednesday coming in and doing like a little presentation. And I did find out that they are also going to be able to come and do our tests. So we don't even have to go to Hastings in order to get our tests done. So that was pretty sweet. I liked that. Coming in here, ham radio. So let's go to communications. All right, so communications and public relations, right? Here is the actual letter that we sent to Interstate Battery. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the actual letter we wrote to Harley Davidson. The actual letter, I have that on the solar car one. Interstate Battery, Harley Davidson. All right. Right, and this is going to be important for our communications and public relations people because that's kind of what they do. They, keep track of who we're partnering with and who we're working with, so that we're good to go for that. All right, so we have Interstate Battery, we have Harley Davidson. We've got a list of people here in town. I need to get a hold of the Innovative Solar people. But here I am just talking about things we need to do. I'm kind of waiting for people to get on here. But I think it's time to just dig in and start doing a little bit of research. Okay. I need to learn a little bit more about the battery. So here we go. I want to go here. I really like this part where it's all about lead acid batteries. So here I'm just going to go to this, this is one we already found. Let's go find something new. Maybe I'll start off with best battery. So best battery voltage for solar car. We remember that each of our car batteries are 12 volts, and we don't want 12 volts. We want bigger ones than that. If we look at our motor, the motor controller that we have is somewhere between 48 and 48 and right there around 48 volts. So if I think really quickly about if I pull up a... If I pull up a Java here, and I pull out my handy dandy little tablet here, it just lets me sketch really easily to show you things, right? So if I have a battery here, right, we'll have a little, those are the little poles, right? We have a positive one, we have a negative one, right? So if that's 12 volts, oh, come on, 12 volts, we would need a few of those, right? So here's our next battery. Positive, negative, 12 volts. Oops. Here's our next battery. Again, 12 volts. Right, so then we would just be adding these together. So 12 plus 12, right here, for the second battery, we have 24 volts. If we add another battery, right, we're just adding 12, right? So here, then we're at 36 volts. We're not even to 48 yet. So here's our fourth battery, positive, negative. All right, this is 12 volts. Got to add these guys together. 12 volt, or no. Let's see, where's our, how's it not doing it? Where's our, yeah, let's go like this. So there is our 48 volts. Okay. But recognize that by hooking these together, right, we hook these batteries together, this is basically simulating one battery's worth of electricity at 48 volts. So really that only gives us one battery's worth of energy. Now, we don't just have the energy from the batteries, right? Remember, we also have the solar panels, right? Here's our panels. Right? And this is going to go to our motor. Right? And the motor is just going to use a bunch of energy, right? It's the minus, right? Subtracting. Boom, it goes down. But our panels, right? Our panels are positive ones, right? We're charging. Here's the sun. Right? And it beams down the light onto our panel, and then it charges the batteries. Okay, so 48 volts, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 batteries. Let's see if we can figure out how heavy the batteries are going to be. So let's open up a new one and see if we can figure out how heavy it is. Car battery weight. Okay, so we got about 40 pounds. But now let's get a little bit more specific, right? That gives us an average. Let's see what Interstate Battery says. So if we go to, just go Interstate Battery, and I will just go. Do we want vehicle batteries? All right, cars and trucks. I'll just go by the ones that I got for mine. It was something like Megatron 2. So let's see. We want as high cold cranking amps as we can. Something like this guy, right? He's got 900. All right, so cold cranking amps. So this guy is our biggest one. So let's see if we can go to his page. Now you see what I'm doing here, right? I'm doing research. Look, I've got this question in my head. I'm trying to find out how heavy a battery is. Okay, so here, the weight of this guy is 48 pounds. And we see the price there is pretty spendy. All right, but 48 pounds. So let's say maybe we're not going to go with this battery. Let's go back one. Is the another kind of battery, is it going to be just as expensive? There was an 800 down here, I think. Wasn't there? Nope. Okay, let's drop significantly to 700. There was a 700, right? Here we go, 700. And let's see how much this one weighs. This will kind of help us out, give us kind of a good average of what we're after. Oh, come on. Did it work? 700, the MT78. Or maybe not. Let's choose the MT34. Okay. Much smaller, but 10 pounds heavier. That's about all we get. So 37, and this one was 48. So if we just said probably an average around 40 pounds, what was the average again? I think the average was 35 pounds, or wasn't it? £39. Yeah, right there around 40. Okay, so we're coming up with the same conclusion that they're coming up with approximately. Okay, so we're going to want to put that information on here. We'll grab this guy. And so remember, I just found something new, right? I just learned something. I don't want to have to look this up again. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say I'm going to label it here. The battery weight. I used 2 separate batteries. Approximate average weight. Okay, so I got 2 different ones to determine approximate weight, which match the information Google gave me. All right, so first website is this one. Second website was this one. This was our heavy guy. And this one is what Google gave us. All right, now I'm not going to leave it here. I'm going to label these, right? Lightweight. And I'll label it here so I don't have to look it up. 37.5. We'll label that as 37.5. 37.5 pounds. And this one was 48 pounds. Now Chris mentioned something that we might want to be thinking of, and that is, instead of doing things in standard, we might be converting this to metric. So 37 pounds. So we say 37 pounds in kilograms. Right. So 17 kilograms. 17 kilograms. And then 48 would be 48 would be 21, 22 kilograms. I'm just rounding up. Kilograms. All right. And then this one. I can never spell that word. All right. So Google gave us for the average. Okay. So if we go back to our drawing here. All right. So we have 4 separate batteries. Right? How much does 4 batteries equal? All right, so 4 times, how much did we say it was? 40? About, our average was about 40 pounds. Wait. What was 40 pounds? 18 kilograms. So 4 times 18. Right. So this one is going to be a little bit different, right? This one's in kilograms and this one's in pounds. The calculator is going to be your best friend. So 4 times 40, right, that's 160. 160 pounds worth of batteries. And then same thing down here. 4 times 18, or 72 kilograms. Now, this is only if we do 4 batteries. So if we want two batteries worth of power at 48 volts, that means we have to then link 2 of these guys together, right? So we'll have 4 sets of batteries chained together, linked to 4 sets of batteries chained together, and that's going to give us a lot more power. But notice it's double what this is. So I'm going to put that in here, right? So if we have 4 batteries, that equals 160 pounds, or was it 72? Wasn't it 72? I thought it was 72. 72, yep. And then we just have to double that for our next one. If we have 8 batteries, that equals, right, double that. And I can just do that in my head. Well, can I? Right, so it's 310 pounds. No, 320 pounds. Or 144 kilograms. Now that's a lot. That's a lot of weight that we're carrying around, and this is just batteries, right? This has nothing to do with the frame. This has nothing to do with the solar panels. This has nothing to do with the people that are involved in it, right? This just has to do with weight, and that's based on getting one like this from Interstate Battery. And again, we don't know exactly which batteries they're going to give us, or if they're going to give us batteries at all. But hopefully it'll be something common like that. Now, I did notice over here they've got these golf car batteries. Let's see if those are any different. Wait, did I click on it? Yes. All right, so these are 6-volt batteries. So we would need even more of them to get going. But they've got to have they're all 6-volt batteries. So that means we'd have to have even more of them to get going. So 6-volt battery would be like half of it. So we'd need 8 batteries to get, this one right here. This is 8 volts. 8 volts. So if we look at this one, 63 pounds. So, okay. So this is even heavier, and it's only 8 volts. So if we were to try to figure out how many volts that would be, let's just do a new one of these. Right. So if we did that, we'd be doing here something like, all right, we wanted 48 volts, right? Oops. All right, so we want 48 volts. How are we going to get there, right? So if we divide that by 12, we get our 4 different things. So we want to divide that by 8. That'll tell us how many batteries we need at 8 volts to get to 48. So if we come in here and we say 48 divided by 8 equals 6. So we're going to need 6 batteries at 6 volts to get to 48 volts, and that's going to be, or no, it's not, it's 6 batteries at 8 volts, so that gives us 48 volts and how much pounds? So 6 batteries, it was 6 times, remember what it was? It was like 63, so 6 times 63, what? That's going to be so much. All right, so 6 times 63 equals 378. Okay, so it's not actually that much of a difference. A second, let me. Right, if we have 8 batteries, right, that gave us 320 pounds, and here we're looking at 378 pounds. So it's a little bit more. But remember, these were 8 batteries. 8 batteries. And these were 6 batteries. So let's see how much. What did we have here? So these guys were 63 volts. We chose this guy here at 700. So this had amps. Right, it's got 875. And over here for these guys, it doesn't even have it. We got to figure out how to rate the batteries then. How much energy does this store versus how much does this battery store? And I don't know if it has something to do with that number there. Does it give us a... No. Yeah, so we're gonna need. So this is the best we have to go on for here for volts. But since golf carts they don't crank it over, we'd have to figure out what it does. But it doesn't give us any more specific. I thought it would give me like an actual sheet here that would let me look it up. But it doesn't. So that's something we would have to do to contact Interstate Battery. So I could put that on here. If we get so these are 6 volts at 63 pounds. No, not 6 volts. They're 8 volts. 8 volts. I keep forgetting that. Right, there's 6 batteries at 8 volts. At 63 pounds equals 6 batteries at 8 volts at 63 pounds. It was equal to 378 pounds. Now, it'd be really interesting, again, to compare the amount of energy contained in the batteries between those two setups. But we'll just have to figure that is. All right, it was 63 pounds is 28.5 kilograms. Okay, now recognize that we've spent a lot of time now, what it's been about 30 minutes, and we talked about a couple different things, but then we've basically just been looking at one particular setup, right? the battery's weight. Notice how much time that took, right? We're just going through websites, finding little pieces of information, thinking of how these go together, thinking of how we want to put these together, and then the most important thing, the absolutely most important thing, is that you write it on here. Otherwise, you're going to have to redo all of your work. All right, I just got text here from Sekov. Okay. Okay. So there is just one small section about batteries and about the weight that's involved with that. So think about how that might work for the car, right? So this is information we're going to have to get to the chassis people and say, okay, or the suspension people and say, okay, you're going to have to count on us for about somewhere around more than 300 pounds of batteries, right? Somewhere around there. But then again, right? Then again, we might hear back from, we might need to do some research on how much amp hours are in these batteries. And then we can come back and we can say, oh, I forgot to link to these guys. And we can come say, oh, that's actually way more than we need. We don't need that many batteries, but that's all something that would be a totally different setup. Okay, so again, we were going on, I think our original question was, what kind of batteries do we need? Now, on this website, I found another company that does batteries, although do we have... Okay, so here's let's see what they say here for this video about what type of batteries we can use for solar. Let's see what they say.
Hello, this is Aaron with SolarPenny.com. Today I kind of wanted to review different batteries. Batteries is a common question we get. A lot of misinformation about batteries. Our first kind of battery is a marine or RV battery. It's basically a modified car battery. It's rated in cold cranking amps. This is actually a terrible choice for solar. The reason is this cold cranking amps wants to push out as much power as possible. It is not designed for a draw, which an inverter wants or solar wants to charge. So this is just a car battery. It may say marine or deep cycle, but it's just a modified car battery. A poor choice. It's a common one with beginners, but it really is not a good choice for you. You actually have really poor results for it. Our next kind of battery is a dual purpose battery. This has a rating by cold cranking amps, but it also has an amp rating, an amp draw rating. That means it's designed to sustain an amount of power for a period of time. This battery is kind of our happy medium between a golf cart battery and a marine battery. We get our cold cranking amps, we still get 12 volts in one battery, and we also get an amp hour draw. This is our really only choices for 12 volt batteries. After this, we have to go to 6 volt batteries. Here I have an example of a golf cart battery. These golf cart batteries are commonly 6 volts, and the reason is because they have a really high amp rating. We lose in a battery like this. It no longer has a cold cranking amp rating, it only has an amp hour draw, which is exactly what we want. Golf cart batteries are a good choice for people, not the best, but a good choice for people because all the way around the country you have access to them, easy access, whether it's a discount store or Costco or Walmart, whatever it may be. So look for that golf cart battery. The reason golf cart batteries are good is because they're designed to do an amp rating for a draw. These are 5 and 20 hours. A lot of people ask, what's the difference between a 6 volt golf cart battery and a 6 volt solar battery? And it kind of goes to the quality.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I learned something really important. Really, really important. Right? These batteries that we're looking at, the ones we pulled up here, these are completely the opposite of what we want. We don't want these kind of batteries, right? There we go. I just learned something new. All right, so when I come back on here, I need to write this down. And this is so important that I need to put this up at the top, right? I might even put this in all bold letters, right? We can't use car batteries. And guess what? I can't just say that, right? Anybody can type that into the page. I'm going to link to this video, right? So if they're like, wait, why did he say that? Why is that so important? Look, we can get these batteries right here. Look, they're really good. We can link directly to that so that anybody who says, oh, we can't use car batteries, there's a link to it. Oh, maybe that video shows us why. All right, now I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to it, but I can't help stress that point of when I learn something new, I have to put it on the document. I have to. And I can't just type in, hey, Mr. Martin thinks this. We have to link to into a data, whether it's a document like we had over here, not that one, this one over here on this guy, or whether we're going to link to a video, anything that wherever we got our information, we have to link to it. Okay, we're about halfway through this video. Let's keep on going because I'm hoping because he even said golf cart batteries weren't the best. Let's see what let's see what he keeps on saying.
Quality of it. When we go to a solar battery, we're also 6 volts. There's 2 versions of this Trojan T105. There's a standard T105 and then there's a T105RE for renewable energy. The standard T105 has a 5 and 20 hour draw, so it's designed to do a shorter period of draw. The RE series has a 20 and 100 hour draw, so that $30 difference is very worth it because we can go ahead and get a higher quality battery. You can see this golf cart battery and solar battery pretty much have the same specifications in physical size. This one weighs about 45 pounds. This one weighs 69 pounds. So you can see the difference is just the core. This is going to have a much higher core. When we kind of go from the solar batteries, people will ask, what's the difference between these taller ones that are in a category called L16 or the smaller version? And really it's just size. This one's going to have more power, but then we have a heavier battery and they're quite a bit more expensive. The T105 is a smaller package. Once again, these solar batteries are commonly 6 volts. Sometimes when we get to the the L16s, we drop down to 2 volts. So remember, when you're out battery shopping, look for one with an amp hour draw. If it says cold cranking amps, that's actually opposite of what we want for solar. If you are interested in buying solar batteries, I always tell people you don't have to buy them from an online retailer. If you live in the West Coast, I can help you get these batteries through a distributor. If you live in central or the eastern side of the United States, contact Trojan and ask them who your local dealer is in your area. Although they may normally not carry the RE version, any Trojan dealer can get the T105RE or the L16RE. Don't pay freight to get these batteries to yourself. Find a local dealer. Any local Trojan dealer can get these for you. Like I said, just call Trojan's corporate office, ask them who your local dealer is, and that local dealer can find them for you. A lot of online retailers imply that you have to have them shipped to you. It's just not true. Contact Trojan directly. If you have any questions.
All right, now it looks like he's moving into the sales pitch. Okay, but we learned some really important things. First, we have another brand, Trojan Batteries. But I also have to do some thinking now because I'm thinking he talked about how the battery draws power out. And I think that a car would draw power a little bit differently than maybe if you'd hook these batteries up to your house. So I've got to be thinking about that. And what do we have? We have a car. Well, if we have a golf cart battery is optimized for what? For a car-like thing moving around. So we might have to look and see what that is. Again, he said that was about 40 pounds. The ones that we found on here, right, these were 60 pounds. And I wonder, amp hour draw. I don't see any draw data here. But let's see. Let's look for a totally different type of battery then. So we had golf carts. Do they have any solar batteries? I don't see any solar batteries here. Agricultural vehicles. Nope, I don't see any. Golf cars actually seem like one of the best linkages, and we saw that we could get 6 8-volt batteries to fit in our car for about the same price as 8 of the 12-volt jobbies. So that's 8 volts, and I wonder if it would make any difference if we drop down to the 6 volts, because they had those 6-volt ones on there. 2400 versus the GC8, which is what we got. Ooh, but see, look at that one. Okay, this one, high performance, right? You can see that in the price, and that's killing us. You know what? I think what we might want to do, because choosing a battery seems like it's going to be a lot more complicated, this might be an ideal one for us to try to ask Interstate, right? To be able to send them a question. And that might be something that we can do here. Do they have like a contact us? Our locations, corporate. Nope. What about up here? About us. Contact us. There it is, right? So we can go and we can say, okay, what we want to do, right? We might have to really, really think about what it is that we want to do. And here we go. Maybe we can just put something in here and say, hey, I would like to, this is what we're doing. We're building a solar car. What batteries that you have do you think would be the best kind? And that would be probably a good place to start. All right, so thinking about batteries. So I'm going to come down here into battery weight. I'm going to put in here, do not use. Do not use. Right, and I'll do the same. I'll do the same thing here. Just so that I don't forget and be like, wait, weren't those really good batteries? No, we don't want any of those. They're garbage. Okay. So there is a little bit about batteries. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. But what you need to be thinking about for your section is doing things like this, right? I don't have time to sit here all night long and do everything, right? I might just do this here and figure out battery weight. Okay, even if we decide to go with another battery, right? I've got a good idea of how much that's going to weigh, right? I might want to do one more calculation for those 6-volt batteries instead of 8-volt batteries, but I've got a good idea of what I need. And then tomorrow, when I come in tomorrow or the next day, right, I might say, okay, I figured out how much the batteries are going to weigh. Now I need to figure out what he was talking about with battery power ratings, right? He talked about that amp hour draw. And I might have to figure out how batteries are rated so that I've got a good idea of what that is. On this battery right here, he talks about the difference between parallel and series connections. That is actually a really, really important thing to know. So I'm actually going to link that. And I'm going to pose that as a question up at the top. I'm going to say, what is the difference between batteries in series parallel. Okay, and then again, I can't ask that question like if I have absolutely no clue, but remember the goal is here that we're asking these questions and then we're finding the answers. So this is a good place to start. So I'm going to go ahead and put that right there. because that's a good place to start. I'm surprised that they didn't put that in here where it was like don't use. All right, so 6 12-volt batteries is what they were thinking of. We had talked about 8 12-volt batteries, but again, it also depends on how many volts we want to go, because if we want to go 72 volts, that's totally different than 48 volts, right? We're almost twice as powerful. So again, we just have to decide how we want to do it. We got to make some decisions. But that also might be something that we want to go put onto the motor and controller page, right? Here on the motor controller page. All right, and then I might put, this is from the battery. All right, the battery team has to know what motor they're getting. Because if they go with one of these 48 volt motors, all of our equations are great, right? We talked about the weight, we talked about how many batteries we need. But if they decide they need to go with the 72 volt motor, because it's going to be more efficient, it's going to be better for us, we need to be thinking about, okay, so they went with a 72 volt motor. How are we going to get 72 volts with the batteries that we have? How much weight is that going to carry? And then we might have to get back to them and say, okay, we can do 72 volts, but it's going to be 600 pounds of batteries. And then they're like, oh, maybe 600 pounds, that's a lot. So even though the motor has more power, maybe it's not going to, maybe if it's pulling 600 pounds, it won't be worth it. So again, we've really got to make some of these decisions as we're coming down, and we need to get back to the chassis team. Right, so here's our chassis team, because they're the ones that are designing it to hold the weight. If you have 600 pounds of battery, they are going to need to support that with some of their frame and their tubing. Whereas if it's only 200 pounds, we could probably get away with a lot less. Okay. We didn't see many of you on here for the stream, so I'm going to be posting this up in the Google Classroom. There should be a good way to fast forward through it. But again, this was just, I didn't plan this out in advance. I didn't even know what question I was going to answer. I just kind of went with it. I would have been a little bit more focused if I would have been on a specific team, right? If I only had 2 teams that I was working on, that would have helped me stay focused. But I just got to get in there, start asking myself some questions about what we want to put on the car, and then going out and finding answers at different websites to try to think about what can we get that which would match those requirements. All right, this is Mr. Martin signing off. Don't forget to do your research on your solar car. Don't forget to do... so what was it? It was him... Wasn't it Ham Radio Study? Yep, hamradiostudy.org. Again, this is really nice because you can register with Google, which makes it super easy. So you can just come in here and sign up for that. I'm gonna try to go through and find my because I've already got my technician class license. I might try to go in and get my general license, because if we had a general license person on the team and we had a general license person at the school, we would, no matter where we drove, almost in the United States, we would be able to have a ham radio that could communicate back to Walnut Middle School, which would be awesome. Next Wednesday, the Ham Radio Club is looking at coming in to help us out with our licenses. And they also told us that they would be able to do the test, which I think that's going to be a pretty big deal. So keep on studying. I mean, there is absolutely no easy way to do this. All it is studying. That's all it is. It's going through piece by piece. Some of you have not practiced this. This is going to be really hard for you. But this is going to be an absolutely amazing... this is going to be an absolutely amazing experience for you. And this is going to be an amazing skill to have moving forward, because that means no matter what your question is, whether it's about ham radios, whether it's about solar cars, whether it's about buying your first home, you'll be able to say, oh, if I don't know something, I can get on to the internet and I can find it. Good luck with your studying.